Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is doing good. So in this video, I'm going to invite my very good friend Rohit Gupta. He is having more than a decade experience in data engineering field, and he has worked on multiple use cases, worked with multiple clients. So in this session, he will explain his data engineering journey, how he moved into data engineering skill, what are different challenges, what are the changing ecosystem and data system. So this video is going to be very beneficial to the associates who want to move into data engineering skill or the associates who are in the mid level and want to excel in data engineering skill. I hope you will enjoy this video. So let's proceed with it. Hello Rohit, welcome to the channel. It's great to have you on the channel. So before we move into the data engineering aspects and know about your data engineering journey, the challenges and other aspects of data engineering, I would like you to please introduce yourself to the viewer.
Thank you, Santosh, for inviting me. Uh, so I will start with my introductions, very short introduction, because I have been in this data world for almost 15 years now. 2009, yeah, almost 15 years, and I think we started around the same time, same organizations, and I have been working mostly with data engineering projects. So currently, I work for a consultancy. I have been mostly working with consultancy and product-based organizations, but like now, currently, I'm working for a consultancy. I'm currently working in Netherlands, so that's something that kind of just my experience based on. So I have worked with the companies where uh, it was when I started my career, it was more data developer or Oracle developer at that time because in 2009-10 it was mainly Oracle which was taking over the market. So if I talk about the data part, I think SQL and some programming language were the main focus of area because we were freshers, we were more into programming, so we were like, okay, SQL and programming. Then I think somewhere around 2014 or 12, we shifted to Informatica, and then came the big data era where we actually worked on things like Scoop, Big, Hive, and Java programming majorly because MapReduce was there, and then slowly moved on to the Spark space in around 2016, 17, and then I think I am continuing till now on Spark. The only thing which has changed is how Spark has actually changed from an open source project to a proper enterprise organization provided by Databricks. So that has also, like earlier, we had this Cloudera platform and Hotenotes platform, but mostly, if I talk about my data engineering, most of the data engineering works were somewhere around the Apache Spark and Kafka, I will say. And programming language, it has so when I started initially with Apache Spark, it was mostly I would say Scala and Java, but now it has shifted more toward Python because of machine learning and AI's things getting more uh, exposure on the line.
Thanks, Rohit, for the great explanation. Like I were with you when we started our data engineering career with a different organization, but the skill set remained the same. So I would like from we would like to know about more about the challenges when you started with the DE field because it's not very easy to shift into a new tech. The technology ecosystem, which is a very vast range. At that time, also it was very vast. So some challenges, if you can put it in this video.
Okay, sure. So, Santosh, when I started, I felt challenges at each uh, span of my career because when we started, we were fresher. We were not knowing what is GitHub, what is code deployment. We were like in a college, we were only explained there is a C++ programming language, and then there is something called as SQL queries and Python. You write it on your local desktop, and you think that okay, this is the best code I have written. Uh, so when we started, the biggest challenge was to understand how an industry works and how each component, not only data, but also how each components are interrelated and wind to each other. So the first thing was like, okay, we have to understand that I should have a Git repo and code check-in, code review. These things are also there. So that is something when as a fresher you will join an organization. Not only apart from your programming languages, but also you need to learn the processes which are required, and that is actually helpful because it lets you know the areas where you are kind of facing some challenges, or let's say if you want your code due, because we are human beings, we think from one aspect, but there can be multiple aspects. So that also something I learned as for me as a fresher. Then goes the next phase when we were almost 4 years or 5 years experience, then we know that enough how things work as a programmer and what we are doing as a programmer. So we know now that, okay, so now the next part was that's there, like I mentioned, the technology shifted. So earlier it was purely Oracle based. Now people are moving more towards Informatica. So at that time, uh, learning those technologies were major areas because major challenges. So what challenge we would face is like I mentioned, I have been working with consultancy, and when you go with work with a consultancy, you might work every 2 years, 3 years, you might change the project. So the first thing when you go on the data engineering side, you should have to you need to understand what your data says, and based on that, you can take the decision that okay, should I use Apache Spark? Should I use only a Python? Because if my data is only 1 MB, I don't need to spin up a Spark cluster, which is more costly. So you have to understand your data. And then the next thing what I learned in my second phase was related to the architectures. Then architecture came into picture, like data warehouse versus data lake versus the old models when everything is there on, and we don't know which architecture it was at that time. But that was a something. Then more from the architecture wise, we tend to learn. And then programming language was one because I was majorly into SQL and Java programming. And then when Spark came, we have to actually move to Scala, and that was more on the functional side. So we have to change our thought process as per functional knowledge. So it was a kind of a great learning process. And since that time, Spark and Kafka were quite new, very good tools for streaming and data processing. So we also have to learn quite many things that what can work and what cannot work with this technologies. So that was the second phase, and now the third phase, what I will see, which I see like every 5 years the phase change. So I see more as overall both technology, architecture, and even like now we work as a team for my organization. So everyone has to contribute in some area. So it's not only the programming, but also getting the requirements clear, processing, designing an architecture, security, networking. All things should be kind of packed in one package, and that's what at least there's expectation from a person who is 15 years of experience.
Yeah, thanks, Rohit, for the very long and very great explanation. Yeah, so I think Rohit, there was some video glitch from some of the software side. So I think we can see you. Now we'll move to the next question, which we have is like when you started the data engineering career, or when I also started data engineering career, there was a very different ecosystem of D, and now you see the ecosystem of D has moved out of Spark. It's not just a big data; it's a very different thing. So how do you think the comparison between these two ecosystem? Why I'm saying so, because the person or the associate who are going to move into the data engineering field currently, or someone who is of 3 4 years and they want to excel in the data engineering field, so they have to face a different kind of challenges which you would have faced when you started it. So how you see all these two ecosystem very different, and how what will be your suggestion or advice to the people who are trying to move into data engineering field?
I think it's always good to move in data engineering field, irrespective of whatever challenges we face. And now, if I talk about the challenges, uh, it is not major a challenge, but that's just we have to enhance ourselves in AI world because now AI is taking over more uh, data engineering concept. And why I'm saying is because let's say when I was a junior or a fresher, when I have to uh, I received an error in Spark or any of the technologies. The first way is to ask your seniors or maybe to Google it on Stack Overflow and different forums. But now with new technologies like OpenAI, Copilot, they are giving you a kind of template thing. So I see both as advantage as well as disadvantage for any engineer, whether it's a fresher or a senior person. Why I'm saying is because earlier when we used to program, we used to know that okay, this line has certain set of meaning, but now we get kind of a production grade code from these APIs, the AI APIs, and then we are tend to now in a habit of running those code, and if we get error, then again we just ask that question. Instead of finding the root cause, we are now more dependent on OpenAI to get the result very quickly, which is good because these codes are really, really good. But then we can try to make a balance. Like maybe if we can just learn also from that code that what exactly each line means and then uh, and how we can maybe try or implement in our day-to-day life. That will be a kind of really helpful. And I see that both has an advantage and disadvantage because if you are not learning from that AI thing, then for sure you don't understand the problem and how to fix that because sometimes AI don't know your problem. AI know your chat prompts which you are asking, give me the code for ingest data from XYZ sources, and then you will get a source. But there is lot many things going behind just a connection that just making an ingestion that there should be a networking, there should be the connection variable. So all these things should play. And once you are working on your code, you will know that okay, these are the things you have to take care. A simple example maybe I will suggest is like Spark. Initially, when I started, I was just sorry for like I'm focusing more on Spark because I've been working more on Spark side, uh, but like initially there was an used to a parameter called as partition when we used to read the data, and by default it was 200, and we were running some file for a 4 MB and 5 MB, and it was taking 30 minutes. But then we read Spark documentation that okay, this should be a configurable option and not the default 200 thing. So there were challenges at that time. A simple connection setting up on Windows machine was also a challenge when you are going to set up. But now these things we get as part of code, the winutils.exe file which runs the Spark. So that is something you get from OpenAI and all. But for me, I see this is like now the focus area is same. For data engineering, the focus area is same data, and then how you are going to extract the value out of the data, be it of any technology, Informatica, Spark, Databricks. End result is the same, that it will be some report. So for me, the advice on that is in accept the new technologies like OpenAI or Copilot or any AI tool, but then also uh, you have to learn that. You don't have to let OpenAI or any other tool to rule you. You have to make them. It's more like a master-slave relation. So you have to be the master and not the slave of OpenAI.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Rohit. And with this respect, there is something I want to mention. Like nowadays, we have a tool which does most of the thing. Like you'd have seen in Databricks or Notebook, just a click of a button, your Spark submit will be created and it will be submitted into a cluster. So what I see when I interview around 3 or 4 years of experience of associate, and the problem area which I see is that people are not aware of the Spark submit command, the manual parameter which we used to give it. And this tool is an advantage to them, advantage to a developer. But I agree to you totally that we should understand the underlying code and also know like how it's actually working so that it will be helpful for us to drill down the actual problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rohit, for bringing that up. Like that was just out of experience, which I have seen people knows about that. Okay, so now we'll move to something to the associates who are around 3 4 years of experience. They are already working as a D in some of the consulting or a product based company, and now they want to just go to some level up in the D field. Just starting the D can be with the Python data cleaning activity, ingesting the data. But when you are going to excel in the data engineering field, there are multiple ecosystem like monitoring, governance, everything's now become as a data e part. So, what suggestion you want to give to these kind of associates, like their mindset? What how can be like they can be a different in the mindset, or the specific tools they can choose into it so that they can just put themselves into the next level.
Yeah, I think that's really a good question, and it's very because 3 4 year is more like if I just explain it, it's like an college graduate who have done 4 years of engineering and they know something about programming. So the same way here also in industry, 4 years is something now we know what programming, how code works. The next phase, like what I explained in my earlier part also, that now we have to focus more on what my data is saying rather than focusing what I can do. See, there will be always a balance because you have to make a balance between uh, data side, the more on the business side, and the programming side. So you have there should be always a balance that you have to keep improving your programming skills, your increase the area. Maybe if you're doing a data engineering only, you have to also focus on DevOps. And like you mentioned, data governance is one of the important topic which most of the people don't consider as a DE area, but that also is because if you now see the job description, it is changing. So you have to understand like how data governance is set up. So it has to be now once any associate who has crossed 4 years, they should focus more on getting the overall picture, both from the data ingestion to the final report which user is seeing, which will be ingestion, ETL, data governance, how data governance is set up, what we can show, what we cannot show, uh, data privacy. These are the areas which is something I feel is more kind of topic to discuss for any engineer who want. And then comes the architecture because then we have to see what kind of architecture we really want. Do we want SCD type 1, type 2, or data warehousing, Delta Lake, Lake House? What kind of architecture actually suits? Because now after 4 years, you will be also in a position to give more suggestions to your team, which can be for betterment. So that's why knowing the architecture. And also one thing what I would like to suggest here for 4 years, or not for 4 years, for any, I will feel because I learned something in a process, not after four, but at least 5 6 years, that we should also focus on the certification side. Why I'm saying certification? Because earlier even I was thinking like, okay, what is the use? I know this is not uh, this is mentioned. They ask these questions in certification, but the actual purpose of those certifications are that you know about that particular technology. You might not use it. You might not use it in near future, but then there can be a scenarios like we are using data versioning from Databricks. I think it's a really good, but when we started doing the certification, we came to know the benefit. It was not a perfect thing, and they are also improving, but they are kind of also things which are very easy, which can be easily done by a tool rather than writing our own set of code. So it's not, we don't need to reinvent everything. It has to be smart working rather than hard working. So that's what I will suggest, that more certification or reading the documentation from the product companies, that will really help for next 4 to 10 years.
Yeah, yeah, that was great, Rohit. Yeah, bringing the point of certification is really great. Most of the people misses out the real purpose of the certification.
Yeah.
It's just not about the implementation. It's also about widening your knowledge in that particular area, and also a kind of something like seriousness. A particular person is serious about this technology. Yeah, that I totally agree with that. Now, Rohit, I have something different. Yes, nowadays, now we also face challenge in this AI industry. Like AI has come up, some new MCP model has come up, which is creating a data pipeline on its own. There are other AI tool, like people are creating LLM pipeline with the RAG and all that tech which is available to solve or to give an advantage to a DE engineer. But this is also bringing a problem area to a person who has started from a traditional DE background. So, what is your view in that? Is AI is really going to hamper D, or it is going to be a boon to AD? Because when cloud engine came, so people were very much worried about how this cloud is going to remove multiple things. But it acted in the long run, it acted as a boon to almost all the industry. So, specific to data engineering, how do you see this DE is going to affect the data engineer's life and the work of the DE?
I think this is really a valid question. Why I'm saying, because yes, there are discussions and argument going on in any part of industry that whether this AI is going to take away our jobs, or is it going to uh, it for me, it is very difficult to answer this question, but like I said, there are both positive and negative. How you want to take it? Because when we started, it was let's say mainframe or Oracle, where we used to run the query, which used to take 7 hours or 8 hours or 10 hours, and we have to just wait for the result, and then if it fails, then again wait for 7 hours. But then came Spark or Storm, Kafka, which solved quite our problems. And people started embracing those technologies. So it's not just because that they want to learn or these technologies or data, they saw some benefit. So now, if not now, maybe people are seeing some benefit with OpenAI. That the way, like I mentioned, like if you have to write just a simple code to ingest data from one, it will give you the template. It will not solve your purpose. You have to fill those informations. You know your system better as a data engineer, and that's why I'm focusing more on understand your data, understand your business. And that part is something, if you understand that, then you can combine the best of AI and your experience, because you have some experience, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, you know your product better than OpenAI. And if you can combine that, you will always get advantage. You will never get a disadvantage. So if you know, if you can combine these two things, you are never going to be outdated. You can also improve quite an improvement in your areas. And so I don't see any challenge. There can be a challenge on some repetitive works, but we were doing automation like using a cron tab to run our jobs daily. Earlier, we used to something was not there that we have to. Some places we used to do manually where it was like required. There was no tooling available, and if it fails, then we have to set up, because tab also was not that flexible. I think 15 years back. Now they have enhanced it. So we have to improve. And even we also learn. We started as a fresher, we were not doing anything. Now we say that, okay, these are the things we should at least follow in data engineering. So I see challenges, but there can be, so RAG and all these are terms which are not just not for scaring, but just we can learn it. It will be a difficult. I will not say that it is a easy that you just go and type something and then you will find. But then slowly we can make an habit, and that's why certifications and your learning habit will come into place. So keep learning, I will say, and then learn any technologies, because now I see there are a lot many requirement of AI engineers. There are more requirement for the govern data AI governance engineers, because now you have to also keep track that AI is not giving you the good result, but also taking care of your privacy and other concerns. So there, AI is taking some areas, but then it has also opened some areas which is kind of unknown to many people. So we have to read more on the documentation of these organizations like OpenAI, Copilot, what good they have to offer.
Yes, yes, I totally agree. And recently, I also came into the requirement. One of our client has mentioned about the AI governance. Because now if DE data is going to get managed through the AI help, so we need a governance, monitoring, security, all with respect to AI. I totally agree. AI will help you if you have a very good business knowledge, because AI will not help you to create the business. It will just create a template. So you have to tailor it to your need. Yeah, yeah, I totally agree with that, Rohit. Rohit, I have a last question to you. Which tech in the DE has excited you the most? Tech means any tools you can say, or any particular scenario, but mostly the tools I'm asking about. Which tech has excited you the most, and which all top 2 to 3 tech you want to mention here, so that the new associates can look into it, can go through its video introduction to get into the D, to understand more about the D things.
Okay. Let me think. So if you talk about tools, I will not count the programming one because that you have to learn with any tool. It is somewhat it is integrated, whether some tools say that, like Informatica used to say that, okay, you drag drop, and that's true. But sometimes you have to write your own custom query, the SQL queries and all. So programming is you have to learn, whether it's Python, Java, Scala, you take it the technology. But the technology which actually excited me during my career was Apache Spark. That was something I really, and then before that, I will say Hive, because that actually changed how SQL used to work. And with Hive, Apache Spark, and now comes the cloud, the third which I say is prominent. You can learn so many things from cloud, whether it's a function app, deployment, DevOps, open source, or OpenAI, any kind of things. So for me, it was more on Apache Spark. Kafka was also at one point it was there, but then it actually, and now Apache Spark, Databricks is providing such a nice platform in 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 form of Apache Spark, that we are kind of really uh, utilizing all the aspect, whether it's a data governance with Unity catalog, or whether it is the ingestion from different sources. So I see one, Apache Spark, and probably Hive is also one which I really enjoy working.
Yes. So from all your answers from a different question, I understand that you are a bit more inclined toward the Databricks, and that is obvious. Like nowadays, it's very popular. I think Snowflake team has to think about being competitive regarding the Databricks solution which they provide. Yeah, I agree to that. I'm not a Databricks engineer, but yes, I really look into it. Yes, I totally agree, Rohit, regarding the Spark you mentioned. I remember like when we both were going through the Spark documentation together, so it was like a magic to us. That massive.
The way they explained the driver node and the worker node, it was kind of really good. And to add your point to Santosh, like I have also worked with Snowflake. I think Snowflake is a good tool. It's not like it's something. Uh, it's again the organization wide. What is your preference? Why? Because then you have to also think why Snowflake is better than Databricks, or why Databricks is better than Snowflake, because both are providing almost similar things. So it's again depend on your choice, like uh, what suits better for your product and for your organization. And sometimes these toolings are not decided based on one project or other. It has to be seen as a uh, wider area where most of the people get benefit from these tools and not just one or two teams. So I think that's both tools are good.
Yes, yeah, yeah, and I think by this answer you have cleared one a kind of interview question which generally is being asked to 3 4 years of experience, like why you have chosen Databricks, not Snowflake, or why Spark, not a traditional Python. So there, yes, this kind of answer can be put. It's not a single deciding factor. It's a overall after effect, and the client is the king. So obviously, a client has also have a very good logic of deciding on the technology.
And let's say if I have to take decision, then I will see what's best I can get from both the place, and then I will see the comparison. That's why I say the documentation, reading the documentation is always more important. But yes, you are also right.
Yeah, so Rohit, it was great talking to you. Your insight will be helpful to most of the viewers, maximum viewers, and your expertise. Like we know, you have a more than a decade. I think 15 more than 15 years of experience in DE. I know you very well, so I think your suggestion is will be valuable here in this video. And I would request my viewer, if you have any doubt, you can post the comment on this particular videos, and Rohit will also come up with the answers, and that answer will be through my comment, but that will be the answer from Rohit. Yeah, thanks Rohit for joining the video. I will be looking forward to connect to you again with some expertise, more drill down areas. Yeah, but again, yeah, thanks Rohit, giving your time. Thank you.
Thanks, Santosh.